He killed the mother of his children, set their home on fire, locked the door from the outside, and left 3 children trapped inside. But what happened inside that apartment before firefighters arrived would turn a devastating house fire into a horrifying murder investigation. Welcome to Your Eyes. On November 20th, 2023, emergency calls began coming in from Daytona Beach, Florida. Witnesses were reporting thick black smoke pouring from a first-floor apartment. At first, there was nothing unusual about the call. Firefighters expected to find a dangerous but ordinary apartment fire. But when they arrived and forced their way toward the entrance, something immediately felt wrong. The door had been locked from the outside, and that single detail would change the entire investigation. This wasn't simply a fire. Someone appeared to have made sure nobody inside could get out. As firefighters pushed through the smoke, they discovered the body of 30-year-old Dina Moore. She had suffered nearly 100 stab wounds. But investigators were about to discover something even more disturbing. Inside one of the bedrooms, 3 young children were trapped as the heat and flames continued spreading through the apartment. 2 of the children were just 4 and 5 years old. The youngest was a 10-month-old baby named Messiah. Firefighters raced against time. The smoke was becoming thicker. The temperature inside was rising, and every second mattered. The children were eventually pulled from the burning apartment and rushed for emergency medical treatment. But despite the efforts of first responders, the youngest child suffered cardiac arrest after severe burns and smoke inhalation. Messiah died shortly after arriving at the hospital. The 2 older children survived, but their condition was critical, and they remained hospitalized for several days. Now investigators faced a terrifying question. Who would attack Dina Moore with such extreme violence, start multiple fires inside her home, lock the door from the outside, and leave 3 children trapped inside? The answer, investigators said, was someone who already knew the family. Suspicion quickly turned toward Charles Leon Ivy, the father of 2 of the children inside the apartment, and investigators began piecing together his movements that night. Surveillance footage, phone location data, witness statements. Piece by piece, authorities began reconstructing what they believed had happened. According to prosecutors, the evidence placed Ivy inside the apartment around the time of the attack, and shortly afterward, authorities located him in nearby Ormond Beach. He was arrested. But the arrest was only the beginning. As investigators dug deeper into the case, prosecutors alleged that what happened inside the apartment was not a random act of violence. They claimed Ivy had become involved in a violent confrontation with Dina Moore, and according to the prosecution's account, the situation then escalated into something far more horrifying. Dina was allegedly stabbed repeatedly. Multiple fires were then started inside the apartment, including in the kitchen and bedroom, and investigators believed the apartment door was locked from the outside before Ivy left. If that allegation was true, the person responsible wasn't simply leaving a burning building behind. He was allegedly leaving children trapped inside it. Meanwhile, firefighters were fighting through smoke and flames, unaware of the full horror waiting inside. For the investigators arriving afterward, the apartment became a crime scene. Every detail mattered. The fire, the locked door, the stabbing, the children's location, the surveillance footage, and the movements of the suspect. The case quickly became one of the most closely watched criminal proceedings in Volusia County. Prosecutors announced that they intended to seek the death penalty. Charles Leon Ivy was charged with 2 counts of first-degree premeditated murder, 2 counts of attempted murder, and 1 count of arson. But Ivy did not accept the accusations. He pleaded not guilty. His defense also challenged parts of the prosecution's case, including attempts to limit media coverage and efforts to exclude certain evidence. One particularly sensitive piece of evidence involved recorded interviews with one of the young survivors. That evidence became part of a larger legal battle over what information the jury should ultimately be allowed to hear. And that is what makes this case so disturbing, because behind all the courtroom arguments and legal filings is a tragedy involving 3 children who were inside that apartment when the fire began. 1 child never made it home. 2 others survived, and their lives were changed forever. Charles Ivy remains incarcerated without bail, While the case moves through the legal system, prosecutors are seeking the death penalty, but the case is still ongoing and the allegations against Ivy have not been finally determined by a verdict. The question now is whether the evidence presented in court will prove the prosecution's version of what happened that night. A mother is dead. A baby is gone. 2 children survived a nightmare they were far too young to understand. And an apartment fire that initially looked like a tragic emergency became the center of a murder investigation. What really happened inside that apartment on November 20th, 2023? The answer will ultimately come from the evidence presented in court. If you want more real criminal cases told with the timeline, evidence, and unanswered questions, follow your eyes. And if this story kept you watching until the end, share it with someone who follows true crime.